Hello and welcome to the FLW TV betting show. My name is George Harbey. I'm joined by assistant editor George Dagless. George, how are you doing?
I'm very good, George. Looking forward to this first betting show of Football League World TV.
Yes, and we also have writer Football League World and betting guru Ben Wignall. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm not sure how long that tag will last, depending on how these first picks go this weekend.
Yes, well, we're going to be looking at the EFL week in action, picking out our selections. Remember, gamble responsibly and be 18 and over. And when the fun stops, stop. So, first one, let's go into our banker of the weekend. Very straightforward. The banker, the nap, the best bet, whatever you want to call it, the bet that we think simply will not fail. They say there's no bankers in betting, but I have to prove people wrong. George Dagless, no prep, my friend. What have you got for us first up as your best bet?
Well, I'm quite confident about this one, which is probably a bit stupid, but I've gone for a Millwall-Blackpool draw this weekend in the Championship. Reason being, both teams have had fairly slow starts so far in the Championship. Similar records as well. Played 4, drawn 2 each and lost 2 each, and not scoring many goals either. Millwall have only scored 4. Blackpool have only scored 3. Millwall got a little bit of a defensive crisis as well, so that may play into the hands of the Tangerines. I just think maybe home advantage for Millwall will potentially level it out. So that's what I'm going for draw as the banker. It's 12-5 on Sky Bet, where it was last night when I looked. I doubt it's changed too much. Tell me, giving this tip now, at which point it's probably gone to odds on. So that's my banker. Millwall v Blackpool. A draw in the Championship, and I guess Lions fans in particular wouldn't be too happy with that, given how many draws they recorded last season as well in the second tier.
It's a good pick to start us off, Ben. I saw your face go like that when George picked. So, what have you got for us? Can you better that?
Well, I just don't like backing draws. It just never seems to work for me. I know they get the better odds, but my banker of the weekend, I think it's a pretty obvious one, but I'm surprised they're above evens. Sheffield Wednesday away at Morecambe. To be fair, Morecambe haven't started the season too badly, considering they were widely tipped to go down by a lot of people, and there's been a lot of outgoings and incomings. Obviously, a new manager as well. But I watched the highlights against Preston, obviously, on Tuesday, and the defence was kind of at sea for a lot of the goals. And in terms of Sheffield Wednesday, I think that the recruitment that they've made this summer, that's the reason that they've started very well. I think a lot of Championship teams will be happy with some of the signings they've made this summer, and there seems to be a very good vibe around the club now. Obviously, sometimes relegation, that happens, and the fans come back together, and they've not conceded a single goal this season in the Cup and League, and obviously the top of the table now, I think. Like the Lee Gregory, Dennis Adena, and they're very good for this level, and I think they should just be too strong for Morecambe. I can see them winning by a couple of goals, judging on what I've seen of both teams so far this season.
Morecambe versus Sheffield Wednesday is a league fixture. That is just still getting red round. I think I've gone a lot safer than you two boys. So obviously I'm at Derby versus Forest this weekend. Local derby, highly anticipated. Could be the end of Chris Hughton if they lose. I've gone with under 2.5 goals, which is 1-2 on Sky. So if you're looking for a high odds thing, that's not for me. I just think that these kind of games, there's very, very few goals. I remember the last time they played, it was 1-1, 0-0, 1-0. You know, fans back in, it's going to make it even more cagey. I don't think Forest can afford to lose, and I think their style of play anyway is very defensive. And I think I just can't see more than 3 goals in the game. So as I said, 1-2 on Sky. As I said, it's not a high odds one, so I'm playing it very safe there. But it's a banker for a reason, I suppose. I mean, to be fair, for the entertainment aspect, I'm hoping it's over 3 goals when I'm there. But just judging Forest's lack of attacking firepower, you know, and the way they've been playing, I don't think they've scored more than once this season in the league. So there is my banker of the weekend. Right then, Acker time. Let's see what we have for our Acker. Yes, accumulated time. So 3, 4, 5 selections. How many we tend to pick? George Douglas, back to you. Who have you got on your potential accumulator this weekend?
Yeah, I've got a fourfold. 39.48 to 1. So I'm going to call it 40 to 1. Again on Sky. Again, I looked last night. So may have changed slightly, but I doubt too much. Quite a bold opener. Luton beat Sheffield United at Kenilworth Road this weekend. Obviously, Luton, heavy defeat, 5-0 last time out in the league, but I expect them to bounce back. Sheffield United, obviously still struggling a little bit in the Championship, and I just think maybe it could take to after the international break for them to click. I think Luton will obviously be right at it, and they'll fancy getting a bit of a scalp this weekend. So put them in to start with. I've gone with Burton at home to Cheltenham Town. Obviously, Burton started really well, did lose last time out, but overall they've had a very good start to the campaign. I just think potentially they'll get back to winning ways. They get one over Cheltenham, who have done okay so far back in League One, but I just think it might be Burton's day this weekend. Another draw, which I'm sure Ben will be shaking his head at in League One, between Wigan and Portsmouth. Both teams have obviously started pretty well this season in League One. Obviously, Wigan coming off the back of a good win at Charlton. Eventually, they broke the deadlock and ran out 2-0 winners. Obviously, Portsmouth started the season very well, unbeaten, haven't conceded yet. So I just think potentially they can go there and at least get a draw. I just fancy as well the fact that both teams have started this campaign pretty strongly. They might look at each other and think, these are one of our rivals for promotion this season. So potentially both be happy with a draw at this early stage. So I've gone with that. And then finally, back in Sutton United in League Two to get a win against Oldham. Obviously, Sutton are in the Football League. New boys for this season in the 4th tier, playing an Oldham team that's lost all four of their first 4 games in the 4th tier so far. So not looking particularly good for them at the moment. I just think Sutton as well. They've played a couple of tough teams in Forest Green and Salford, who you'd expect to be up there near the end of the season. A couple of draws and a loss from their opening 3 games. I just think it's a good chance for them to get that first win in League Two this weekend, and fans will be right up for it as well. So that's my 4-fold accumulator. And in round figures, it's a 40-1 shot. So not too bad, I would say, for 4 games.
Good odds. Yeah, Oldham doesn't look a happy camp at the minute. I think there was protests on the pitch in the full time last week. Ben, what have you got for us?
Well, I've definitely not got a 40-1 shot. Mine totaled around 21.32 to 1 with Sky Bet. First one I've gone for is QPR at home to Coventry. Now, Coventry have actually won 3 of their first 4 games. They've had 2 late winners at home and a winner against Blackpool away. But I don't think the opposition that they've faced is particularly strong. And I think QPR are one of the stronger teams in the division, obviously with Lyndon Dykes, Ilias Chair, Charlie Austin rolling for them. I think they could win by a good few goals there at Loftus Road. Second pick from the Championship as well is Bournemouth away at Hull. Apart from the drubbing that Hull gave Preston on the opening day, which thankfully I didn't see because I wasn't there. I don't think they've shown much at all, Hull, and I think they need a few more bodies before the end of the transfer window. Bournemouth, they've had to blood in quite a few youngsters because of injuries and whatnot, and they've had to look quite impressive. Obviously, they let at least slip against Blackpool last week, but I think the addition of Morgan Rogers and a few players coming back into the fold like Ben Pearson is going to really help them, and I think they should be a comfortable winner tomorrow. Obviously, I've got Sheffield Wednesday in there as well. My banker over the weekend, they've got them. I think there's too good a value to not put in there. And then my final pick from League Two is Forest Green at home to Port Vale. I think Port Vale got a decent team to be fair, and I quite rate Darryl Clark as a manager. They've not really got going yet, and Forest Green have set off really well. Scored 6 goals against Crawley last week, and basically seems to be firing on all cylinders. With Rob Edwards as the new manager, is a relative newcomer to the game. So I think that they'll carry on their little winning streak. So QPR, Bournemouth, Sheffield Wednesday and Forest Green. Last night it was around 21-1. I can't see it changing that much until perhaps team news comes out later on. So I think that's a good little bet there.
Well, I've gone even safer once again. Mine is a 4-fold 11-1 on Sky. Chris Thorpe, I've seen he's watching. The first one won't be a happy camping for him. It's Ipswich at home to Wimbledon. I just think Ipswich have obviously yet to win since they've come down to League One. Well, not League One, since they've had Paul Cook this season. I just think that due a win. I think they've been knocking on the door recently. Macaulay Bond seems to have found his feet in front of goal. And I just can see Ipswich getting a home win against Wimbledon and finally getting that monkey off the back. Sticking with League One again, Sunderland Wickham. Sunderland Wickham, 3 out of their 4 first games in League One have been both teams to score. So I've gone with both teams to score there. Just think they're 2 strong teams at the right end of League One. I don't think Wickham will be phased by going to a full, nearly full Stadium of Light. 30,000 fans there. I think they'll very much go there as underdogs, but I can also see Sunderland, Ross Stewart and Aidan McGeady in fine form. So I've gone also with Forest Green over to Port Vale. Forest Green looks to be pasting everyone at home at the minute. I think they scored 6 against I believe it was Crawley. Sorry, Dags, last time out, Crawley. I just think they look a really good outfit at the minute. Nicky Cadden on the wide on the wing looks a good player. And final one is West Brom at Peterborough. Now, note that is a late kickoff, so if your other 3 come in, then you're gonna have to be waiting for your returns, or you have to be waiting. So that's a controversial one. 8 p.m. kickoff at London Road. West Brom at the minute, just for me, look a class above anyone else, and Peterborough have been up and down since coming back up to the Championship. I just think West Brom, as I said, can beat anyone at that level. And I know they're missing, I think it's Robinson and Button, but they've got more than enough in attack to blow Posh away. So that is 11-1 on Sky. That's the lowest odds out of us 3 once again. I'm playing it safe once again. Next up is our value tip for the weekend. Yes, we're going to see if we can outsmart the bookies here. We're looking at a selection which we think is incredibly high odds for what it is. So see if we can make a bit of money off one bet. So Dags, your value tip for the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of links into what you were saying about Derby and Forest earlier on in the show, actually, George. You obviously said it was 1-2 under 2.5 goals. You can get 0-0 at 6-1 on Sky, or you could last night, which I think is definitely worth a look. As you say, neither team have been particularly efficient in front of goal so far this year. Derby, 3 goals from their first set of games, and Forest only 3 goals as well. Obviously, Forest conceded a little bit more, but I just think, as you say, earlier on the show, George, it's Derby game, plenty riding on it. Obviously, Forest particularly need a result given the way that they've started the season, and obviously Chris Hughton's job could be potentially on the line. So it could very much cancel each other out, the 2 teams. So I'm going for a 0-0, absolute classic, which obviously you won't enjoy, given that you'll be at the game. But at 6-1, I think that's definitely worth a few quid, to be honest.
I don't mind. If it's a 0-0 boring game, I don't mind. If you're winning some money at 6-1, I don't really mind, to be fair, mate. Ben, your value tip for the weekend?
Yeah, I'm surprised that Birmingham are 5-2 away at Barnsley. Obviously, it's tough going on the road in the Championship, but you wouldn't have known it last week when they battered Luton 5-0. I was quite surprised at that result as well, because Luton were on my accumulator that day, and that was soon dead after about 25 minutes. I think Lee Boy has got together a very solid squad this season. He's brought some very good players in, like Ryan Woods, Chuck Zinecki, and Tahith Chong just looks different class for the Championship from what I've seen so far. Barnsley, I think Marcus Shops kept the same kind of system that Valerian Ishmael had, and pretty much the same kind of players, but they don't think they've really got going yet. Obviously, they were 2-0 up away at QPR last week, and they let that slip. They've lost to Luton at home as well, and there's been 2 draws in there as well. So I think maybe after the international break, they could get a few more players in before the end of the window on Tuesday. But I really don't think they've scratched the surface yet of what they're about. But I think that Birmingham might have the edge over them here. They look very solid at the back, whether they go back 4 or back 3. Lee Boy seems to be very fluent in the system he decides to pick. And I just think that cutting edge up front with Chong, and if Scott Hogan's back on form, like he showed against Luton, I think that 5-2, if you're sticking that with a few other teams in ACCA, that could prove to be very good value.
Very interesting. To be fair, my value tip again is not exactly the highest of odds, but I just think it's an absolute steal at above evens. We've touched on it previously in the show. Bournemouth at Hull, I think it's 5-4 on Sky Bet, but I think you can get it a bit higher in other places as well. I think Hull haven't won since that thrashing over Preston on opening day. Sorry, Ben. And Bournemouth, I watched them at Forest last week, and yeah, you mentioned the lack of depth. Even with that lack of depth, they looked to a class above with the ball going forward. I think it's Jason Anthony or Jaden Anthony who plays on the left wing. Looks a real handful. Obviously, they've got Solanke, who's starting to find his feet in front of goal. Brooks, if he plays, etc., and also Gary Cahill and Morgan Rogers if they're fit enough to play. I just think 5-4 for a very strong Championship team. I mean, they've been okay on the road as well. I just think that is quite an odd price, really, especially when you're given Hull's mishaps in recent weeks. So if you can get that higher anywhere else, that is a great punt to have. Okay, then. So just rounding off, then it's our wild card of the weekend. Yeah, a bit of a fun one. This one, wild card, is basically just a very random one, which obviously we think might have a chance of landing, otherwise we won't bet on it. But just odds that are quite obscene for one bet, shall we say? Dag, do you want to elaborate on that? What is your wild card for the weekend?
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty wild one, I would say. But it's the opening betting show that we're doing, so might as well go in big. So it's in League Two. I've gone Swindon 3, Mansfield 3, 66-1 on Sky, which I definitely think is worth a quid. It's two teams that have started, pretty well in League Two. Two teams that you would expect actually to potentially be in the promotion pitch, or at least the playoff pitch for the rest of this season in the fourth tier. Obviously, looking at the league table, they're very close together. Swindon in fourth, Mansfield in fifth. Mansfield has scored 7, conceded 6, so there's definitely opportunity at both ends of the pitch for them. Swindon have been a little bit more conservative, only scored 5 goals and conceded 3, but it's at home, it's at the county ground, so I do expect Swindon to be on the attack. I just think that potentially opens it or lends itself to a particularly open game between the two teams. There's plenty of talent on show. Obviously, someone like Ollie Hawkins at Mansfield has started very well. Looks very at home in League Two, and obviously you've got players like Jack Payne at Swindon, who has obviously started this campaign particularly well as well. So plenty of good attacking talent on show, and I just think potentially we could have a bit of a classic on our hands in League Two between these two teams that obviously want to try and get one over each other and make an early statement in the promotion race. So yeah, I've gone with 3-0 in that game at 66-1, and that'll probably end 0-0. I've said that.
That may not be good for the people, the Hearts at County Ground this weekend, but let's hope it is a 3-0. If you get on that, then that is some pick, George Dagless. Ben Wignall, what have you got for us for your wild card?
Well, I was considering what kind of route to go down. If it was like a goal scorers bet or first goal scorers or both teams to score. And in the end, I've just gone for a couple of match result and both teams to score games. I've gone with Bolton to beat Cambridge and both teams to score. I think Cambridge, obviously, they won 3-0 against Burton last weekend at home, but I think Bolton, they've been scoring for fun. And Cambridge's defence on paper doesn't look very strong, so I think that there could be quite a few goals in that one, but I would fancy Bolton as well. Oh, hang on. Noise there. And then this goes against what George was saying earlier, because he backed, I think, Luton to beat Sheffield United. I've gone with Sheffield United to beat Luton and both teams to score. I think the game against Derby for Sheffield United was a bit of a key one, because I think they might turn a corner now. Obviously, I think George said they might turn a corner after the international break, but I think they might actually start clicking now. And with Luton losing 5-0 last weekend to Birmingham, I think this is the perfect time for Slavisa Jokanovic to get them firing on the attack. I don't know if Sonny Bradley and whatnot are back for Luton right now, but they've been playing with kind of like a skeleton defence. So if the likes of Ryan Brewster, Billy Sharp are going to start firing, I think it could start this weekend. And I think there could be a lot of goals in that one. And that double pays around 27-1, so it's nothing massive like George's 66-1 shop. So I need to up my game for next week. Maybe a little first goal score treble next week.
Yeah, next week I might have to come back with 100-1 shout, because this one is only 13-1, but it still could potentially come in. I've gone with touching on Cambridge and Bolton. I've gone with over 3.5 goals in that game. Bolton seemed to score many goals, but they also seem to concede many goals. I think they drew 3-3 opening day. I think they drew 3-3 with Wimbledon as well. Beat Oxford by quite comfortably at home, I recall as well. I've just got a feeling there's going to be goals in that game, over 3.5 goals. The same also of Leyton Orient and Bradford. Bradford have started the season well. Andy Cook seems to be really finding his feet in front of goal. I think they won 4-1 and then 3-2. So again, a team who can score goals, but also not very good at keeping them out of their own net. Orient have made a solid start, as you probably expect on the Kenny Jacket, but I just think Bradford are quite an expansive team. And I just think, again, I've got a feeling it might be a tasty afternoon at the Matchroom Stadium, or what it may be called nowadays. So that is 13-1. And that basically rounds up our bet for the weekend. We've had our best bet, value tip, accumulator and wildcard. Again, please gamble responsibly. We're not claiming to be experts, but we've given our own, hopefully, a detailed opinion, and hopefully we all might win some money this weekend. So George and Ben, thanks very much for joining us. Later on, we've got the weekend preview show with myself, George, and Alfie Burns will be hosting that one. That kicks off at 2 p.m. In the meantime, follow us on Twitter, Football League W, and then YouTube channel if you give us a subscribe, and make sure you don't miss out on future broadcasts. Right, thank you very much for joining us. Take care.